Hi, what's up? Here to talk about a new album. This album is entitled Sea of Ignorance by Brutality. Now, Brutality is basically a band that, if you're accustomed to old school death metal and you know a fair bit about old school death metal, you've probably heard the name before. They've been active, in 1993 and 4, I believe. They put out their first two albums. And in '96 they put out their last album up until this year. So it's been 20 years, so, pretty long amount of time. But they're back, and they're heavy as ever, they really haven't changed that much. So let me just get into the details of the album, what I think, blah blah blah, all that happy horse shit. But, seeing as these guys have been gone for 20 years, you might ask yourself, oh, well, have they changed that much? And in all honesty, no. They haven't changed a lot, even though you would expect them to have. You would have expected them to, change their sound a great amount to appease people, but, they, change their sound at least a little bit, to, give some kind of new sound, but really, these guys are playing the same shit they played back in 1996, 94, 93. They're playing death metal, old school sounding, and really fucking good, actually. So, this album was released on Repulsive Echo Records, also on Ceremonial Records, and it was released January 22nd, 2016. Now, these guys formed in '87, so, they've been on the go for a fair amount of time, and this is their fourth album, even though they've been, broken up for 20 years. So, let's get into it. Sea of Ignorance, a bit of run-of-the-mill, the first track, a bit run-of-the-mill at first, but you see the band coming back, you see what, they're actually aiming for, and this is, this really does bring an interesting, insight to the new material. Then you get to 4852, and then that great old-school sound really does kick in, and it doesn't really sound too far from the early days, the first three albums. Then you listen to Fatal Cure, a shorter track, but it has that still has old school death metal sound. The vocals are a usual brutal old school death metal sound that you really, really want to hear. And Brutality hasn't lost much energy and much, force since those 1990s days that they were, really in their prime. The 4-track tribute, there's a lot of melodic riffs on this. There isn't just the brutal chugging riffs. There are, melodic points where some solos go into melodic points, and even the opening to this song is melodic. And it's kind of typical death metal, but it's executed so nicely. You kind of forget, oh, this is just, this is death metal. You kind of just realize, oh, these guys are, broken up for 20 years, and now they have a new album out, and this is fucking great. So, Perpetual Resolution, more typical stuff, but the riffs do their job, and the vocals are kind of mediocre, but they still do their job. You're never gonna sit down and say, oh, this is fucking boring. You're gonna listen to it and be like, this is quality death metal. It's just that I've kind of heard stuff like this before. Next is Barbarically Beheaded. Now, Barbarically Beheaded is basically not too far from the death metal path. Like I said, the old school death metal path, where you can hear the vocals and you can hear what the singer's actually saying and stuff. But we're not going too far out of the range of old school death metal in its average form. Then you get to the song Shores and Flames. Now, this is a cover of Bathory, and it is 11 minutes and 14 seconds long, just as long as the original. And it starts off and you feel like Corathon's playing it himself until the vocals and the guitars kick in, and you get more of a death metal sound to it, which is really fucking interesting. People were giving them backlash, saying, oh, why the fuck would you cover this? Why would you, ruin a sort of great song by, covering it like this? But really, I don't think that, it ruins the song. I think that it is a really interesting cover, and, it is interesting to see a death metal band cover a Bathory track. But can we admit that? Yes, it's fucking true. But, if you're a diehard Bathory fan and you don't want to hear any, difference to the sound, don't listen to it, you'll probably be disappointed. Then the last song, End of Days. A good end to the album, but just more usual death metal, just gives you that nice little ending, and that's fine and dandy. I like the artwork. It has that dystopian feel with all the TVs stacked up, nuclear power plants spewing out smoke in the background, crosses in like a wasteland. It gives you that dystopian feel. And overall, this is kind of generic, but the talent is not lacking, in my opinion. The riffs and drum work are kind of redundant, but it's still a great death metal album. If you're looking for a new Brutality album and you aren't, too close-minded, you'll probably really enjoy this, even the Shores and Flame track. So, if you like death metal, if you like old school death metal, if you like old school bands coming back and doing old school death metal just as good as they did back in the day, check this out, you'll probably enjoy it a lot. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna give this an 81 out of 100. Really did enjoy this album. Tell me what you think down in the comments and all that happy horseshit, bullshit, I don't know. So yeah, peace, fuck out guys, and have an awesome day.